to the Awakening Podcast. My name is Katie, and this is episode 4, where we're going to be talking about your ego self and your higher self and how to separate the two. And with understanding both of these versions of yourself, it becomes very beneficial in your life, so you can be aware of when you are reacting as your ego or when you are reacting as your higher self. The first thing I want to talk about is your ego and really understanding it so you can separate it when you need to. So the ego is kind of built into your mindset for survival mode. So if you think of like the very beginning existence of human beings, they were running around in a jungle or something, however human beings lived at the beginning of the existence, and that the ego was built for survival mode. Survival mode now, though, in today's current reality, is just through people. There's fear everywhere in the world. So the thing with fear as well is that you get to choose if you are going to be fearful, and the fear comes from the ego. It's because the ego is in survival mode. The ego is there to protect you and keep you alive in this reality system. I just want to throw that out there as well, is that fear is an option. Fear is a mindset. Fear is a part of your ego. And when you can figure out how to let go of your ego in certain situations and choose to act as your higher self, you would see dramatic difference in the situation or the outcome. So to keep the topic on the ego here, this is just my opinion of living through your ego from my perspective. An ego mindset, somebody who lives from their ego, majority of their life on earth, settles a lot and compromises a lot and doesn't live through their full, authentic self or passion state. So I learned this from Jim Carrey. He's very inspirational man. He's very wise, in my opinion. And something I learned from him was that you have two options in life. And this is something that resonates with me at my deepest level. And when I heard this, it clicked for me instantly. It was basically you have two options in life. You can take the path that is most traveled, and that is basically your ego self lifestyle, which is playing the game of life, playing the society game of school, college, work, family, settling. And not saying that path has to be settling, but you have two options. You can either take the path that is easy, settling, comfortable, and you know, hey, maybe I'll have a steady income, maybe I'll have a couple kids, maybe I'll find a wife or husband, whatever. And you have this steady path that majority of human beings throughout existence chose, because this is a very easy path, or easier, I should say. Nobody's life is really easy, because that's the whole point of the human experience, is to go through bad parts and live and learn, and nobody's life is perfect, but going through your ego self path, you're compromising, and in that sense of compromise, that to me is the easy route. Now what I want to talk about is your higher self, so you can recognize that version of yourself and that intuition and that feeling. So I want to really expand your mind here for a second when it comes to your higher self. In my last episode of the podcast, I talked about how we are all one. And that's a very wide topic to kind of comprehend. But when you do comprehend it, nothing else makes sense but this, in my opinion. I'm just going to give a wider perspective about what the higher self even is. Understanding that we are all one. Every single living thing on this planet, especially humans, but not to say that any animal or plant or anything is less than, because they're still living beings. Every living being on this planet is a part of the source, is a part of God, a part of one energy system. It all comes from one source. So understanding that you watching this right now, you are a human being, which is the greatest gift on this planet Earth that you can have, is to be a walking around human being that has the ability and tools of the internet of, like, this is the best time to be alive. But the fact that you are even a human being that is breathing and living on Earth, that's a miracle, and you deserve to be here. You came here, you volunteered to be here, You are here for a reason, and you're a human being. That's the greatest gift to have at this current moment. This is a beautiful experience that we get to experience and live our higher self in a physical form and live the best life you can and play the game of life and love it and enjoy it. So understanding that we all come from source. There's only one energy source, which people call God or the source or the universe. Everything comes from one. You came from one. You are a part of one. We are all one. So you are God. And the first time I heard that, I was like, like I was kind of like, back up a second. I don't feel like I am God. I don't look around this world and this universe and feel I created it. I feel another being above me created it. And this was my past thought. But when I really, really understood that God, humans, animals, this little hierarchy that I had in my mindset previously, before I understood spiritual awakening and metaphysics and all this, that was my kind of mindset where God was above me in a way. And in a way, the source is above me because I am just a part of the source. I am not the entire source. I am a part of the source. But so are you. And it's a blessing and a miracle that you were created from the source. You are existing. You are breathing. You are living. You are walking around or sitting around. Wherever you are, with your eyes open, your eyes closed, you're breathing, you're on this earth and you exist. And you exist from source. The source is eternal. And you are a part of that. And that is your higher self, is God. Because you are God. You are a part of God. Everybody is a part of God. We are all God. And to separate the two for a second, your ego self is built in with your human body. Your God higher self is eternal, unlimited, and where your creativity comes from, and your imagination comes from, and your passion comes from, your energy comes from, your intuition, the miracle of the human body that is so perfectly designed, where we can think and have feelings and move and react and live this human experience. This all comes from the source. This all comes from one God. This all comes from one. And understanding your ego comes with this human experience. This ego is built into the game. When you understand that, you can understand how to move past the ego and choose when you use the ego and when you don't. With practice and with passion, you can soon, over the course of time, or every person is different, but for me, my ego went down a lot, and I'll never, I shouldn't say never, but I can't picture a human experience in this lifetime where I don't have my ego, because the ego is a part of you, and it is part of the way you learn and part of the way you grow and expand your consciousness. It is there to serve you, but there is some negatives with the ego, and that is it holds you back. It keeps you safe, and sometimes safe is not always the right move. The ego also wants to protect you from emotional pain. So that could be keeping you safe in a way where no physical harm would be even done, but emotional harm. And emotional harm is real, and I felt it, and every human being at some point of their life does feel emotional, deep hurt, and it is real. The heartbreak is part of your ego self, and it's there to teach you and to evolve you and get you closer to your higher self in the long run. When you can live a life that is majority through your higher self, through this God, through this unlimited higher self version of you, your life is so magical and so beautiful, way more than it ever could be in an ego self mindset. Okay, so now that I explained the two, the ego self and the higher self, I want to relate the higher self to your current reality. and how you can live throughout your higher self. So this is my favorite notebook currently. I actually have been through a lot with this notebook. I brought it to Tony Robbins' event. I feel it just has a lot of good energy with it. And over the whole year of 2019, I would spend so much time every single day learning and evolving and becoming more of my higher self every day. And I did a lot of work in this book throughout the year. And now I feel with this podcast is a really good time to share really good information I was able to absorb from inspirational people like Tony Robbins or certain YouTubers or books, authors, wherever I got the knowledge from. A lot of it is in this book. And in today's video, we're talking about your higher self and how to live through your higher self. I want to explain what I have in here. And these were actual straight up notes I wrote down during the Tony Robbins event. And in that environment, the whole energy of the room is like just not describable. It's like such a rush of adrenaline, and like you just feel so inspired, and so much good information came out of me into this book when I was there. So I want to get into this a little bit more. So now that you understand your higher self and your ego self, we're going to be focusing how to project your higher self into your physical reality. So first of all, step number 1 is find something that motivates you, that gives you passion, that gives you that energy of passion and love and excitement and joy internally, and become obsessed with it. If something is obsessing in your mind that gives you love and passion, and you can't stop thinking about it for a period of time, you need to act on that thing, because that's from your intuition. That's an energy and a thought and an idea that you're picking up on that's through your passion flow state, and that's an idea that you need to bring into your physical reality. So for me, this podcast is a perfect example of that. I was in a very low mindset depression state at the end of 2019. I was aware of it. I was aware I was being depressing, and I was aware I wouldn't even leave my house for a long period of time. I was just going through and processing a lot of emotions. And in that time of feeling low, I prayed and asked God, my higher self, for an idea, an answer, a light of inspiration. And this came to mind. This podcast came to mind, and I was not able to stop thinking about it, and I thought about it for a long ass time before I acted on it. I'm so glad I acted on it. So that's an example of a passion idea that you need to bring into your reality. That's a personal example of mine. So with this as well, you need to have a balance of an energy that's grace and graceful, grateful, loving, open, honest, non-judgmental. You need to have that like grounded, down-to-earth energy. It's very important, and it keeps you humble. When you leave a state that is no longer humble, and you are like, I have 1,000 followers, or like you're like, maybe that's a bad example, but when you leave a humble state, that's when your ego is taking over, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid the ego and live through the higher self, and the higher self does not have that like, I'm like better than you, like like I'm looking down on you in any aspect. And this could be very minimal. So even if you're having a conversation with somebody and in a way you're looking down at them, that's kind of an example of your ego shining through as something as small as that, even if it's just in your brain. Instead of having that viewpoint, have your higher self viewpoint and look at it as, this is a human being who I am connected to. This is a human being that is a part of Source, a part of One, a part of God. I respect their life journey. I respect their choices. I respect their human experience, the way they choose to live it. And that thought process always stops me before feeling bad or feeling better than anybody, and letting my ego take over. So coming back to the grounded idea that we are all one always keeps me very humble and graceful and grateful. And that's a very, very powerful state to be in, is when you're grateful. and humble. Stay humble, seriously. So whatever your dream is in life, whatever your goals, passion, accomplishments are, there is a science of achievement. Okay, so I want to talk about the science of achievement. This science of achievement is very important when you have discovered what your dream passion is. So whatever that is for you, that could literally be anything. To put it into an example, to give you guys some context. In my personal lifestyle, I have a real, true, genuine passion flow state when it comes to looking at fashion and art. Specifically, like Chanel, like the beauty of fashion photography and capturing a story in a picture with the clothing, with the background, with the whole picture tells a story. Beautiful luxury art that is condensed into fashion is what gives me a passion flow state, what gives me like such a adrenaline rush. So for me to be around other human beings who also feel similar to me in that aspect, or other human beings who have accomplished what I want to accomplish, there's always been somebody before you that has done it. I shouldn't say always, because obviously there are new inventions that come onto planet Earth that have not been existing on the Earth yet, but in most cases, people have already done it before you in a way. And I mean, they've never been you, as unique as you, but you can see the science of achievement that they achieved. So for example, I have a family member who has a beautiful dress company and it's full of luxury dresses. She created this company from nothing by herself, and now it is a very successful company. And that would be an example of somebody in my personal example that is important in my life, because they are somebody who also resonates with my passion at some level. Even though their lives are different than mine, we have that common interest and that common passion. And it's important for you to be around people in your life. Or even to bring this more to a science, if you're somebody who wants to be like a professional soccer player or something, you could go look at the world's famous soccer player and look at his whole career and see what he did, and you put in the same time that this person did to their craft of being a good soccer player, you could have that exact same outcome, because you are a human being as well, as long as you have the same physical capabilities of keeping up with their, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always somebody who's paved the path before you. And in most cases, if that's the case where somebody has paved the path before you, mirror their actions, mirror their actions when it comes to their career, and you can get this blueprint in a way what you need to do from starting now to 5 years from now, and you can get a blueprint. And that's the way to use the science of achievement with your higher self. And it's a mix of your passion and the science of how to actually achieve it in your physical reality. Very powerful when you mix the two, your higher self / God, with the science of achieving what you want, and that together brings you your dream reality. So something really, really important when it comes to your passion is finding the art of fulfillment. So your passion needs to fulfill you, and this means something that even if it brings you $0, it's still something you feel so passionate about, excited about, loving about, gives you that amazing vibration. That is what is more important than getting something in return, such as money or such as fame or whatever would fuel your ego. Something that motivates you solely off of emotion, feeling, vibration, / passion is something that fulfills you. And you need to incorporate the fulfillment with your science of achievement. And when you can have something that fulfills you and the science of achievement to getting there, that's a power duo, my friend. Power fucking duo. So to relate this into my own life, I'm going to get a little bit deeper here. So in my own life, I feel at this current moment in my current reality, I am manifesting a stronger brand presence on the internet. And there's two mindsets when it comes to people who want to be an influencer or personal branding on the internet, because the internet is the golden opportunity of this lifetime. And you can look at the internet through two ways, your ego self or your higher self. And with this podcast, with my content I do put out to the internet, always comes from my higher self. And that has not always been the case. I'm not going to act like I've been a perfect human being my whole life. I'm not. I never will be. When it comes to my life and the choice I made to put my life on the internet, share my personal life, share my thoughts, share a deeper side of myself on the internet, I could have two mindsets about that. I could have an egotistical mindset where I look at the world or look at the internet and think, oh, this is a chance for me to get famous, so that I can get famous and I can get recognition and compliments and fuel my ego more. Or I can get money and I can buy expensive items and fuel my ego more, because people are going to think more of me if I have expensive items. And that whole ego mindset can go on and on and on. Where I consciously choose to switch my mindset when it comes to the internet is I have a vibration behind the content I've been putting out, especially in the year 2019. I feel is when I made the biggest shift for my personal branding, because I started to be a lot more of my authentic self and pushed out the idea of caring about other people's opinions of me, because I know my intentions of content are pure, and impacting people's minds and impacting them to expand their consciousness makes me feel good as a soul that is connected to you. Like, I feel that gives me purpose and that gives me fulfillment. Impact another human being that is in the 3D mindset, and to expand your mind to see how magical life is. That fulfills me and that motivates me. It's very, very important, the vibration that you have behind your intentions, because people can feel that. People are smart. You're smart. For example, just to get off topic here for a quick second, when I scroll through TikTok, and TikTok is currently my favorite app right now, I see a lot of people on there looking for fame, looking for recognition, looking for compliments, looking for some sort of validation. And that's okay. I'm not judging. That's a human being looking for some sort of positive emotional feeling. However, you can see the difference between a good creator and a bad creator on the internet. And a good creator is somebody who is there to either impact you by giving you pure entertainment that is actually going to entertain you, or impact you in a way, in some sort of way, not necessarily looking for just for you to click on follow, just for you to click on subscribe and make their lives better with a larger number. And I can see right through those certain YouTubers, and I'm not here to call anybody out. That's not my job, and that will never be my job to call out people in their life, because I do respect people's lives and their choices. However, people are smart, and people can see right through you when you have a vibration behind your action. And if you have an intention where you're looking for something, for people to do something for you, it's not going to work. And that works in every category. That also works in sales, and I've experienced that as well. So a few years ago when I had a sales commission job, sometimes I would go into work and just look for people to sell stuff to, so I can personally get my own commission rates up, so my next paycheck would be larger. And when I would have that mindset, I wouldn't get as many sales. But when I would go in and if I felt a connection to a customer in any sort of category, some people would come in buying stuff for their significant other, because it was a jewelry store, so stuff like that, and I would feel for them, and I would feel a connection on a level where this is just a person, and they're a good person. And that would be a conversation where I would let go of my ego self and let go of the idea of just wanting their sale, and I would be more connected to them as a human being and go, oh, let me actually genuinely give you the best me I can give you. Let me benefit your experience. Let me benefit you. That was when I would get the most benefit back. And that is how reality works. When you give out an energy, that energy comes back, whether it be instantly in a conversation or it be like however it be. This was in this instant, it was through sales. I would be giving out a radiation and energy to this customer that I want to benefit you, I want to value you, and give you the best piece of jewelry that I can benefit you with. Even if you don't buy it right from me right now, I'm grateful to be having this interaction with you. That energy would get me a lot more commission, a lot more results. So I think this podcast is long enough. I feel I was able to explain to you the difference between your ego self and your higher self, and the difference between your ego self lifestyle and your higher self's lifestyle. And I want you to understand, any second of any day, you can change your mindset, you can change your belief systems, you can change your identity, you can change the way you view the world, and the world is just going to mirror that back to you. So you are never stuck, you are never hopeless, you are never done. You have control all the time. No matter where you are, if you listen to this and you have a awakening that you have been living through your ego, I want you to take the steps I said into consideration, where you find what motivates you, your passion, your flow state, and learning the science of achievement. And having the science of achievement, your passion, flow state, and your fulfillment is, dream life ahead. So I think I will leave it off here for today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I love you all. And hope you have a blessed day. Bye.